Thank you.
Dear Earthmates, we are visiting Burhan Sönmez, renowned novelist, Kurdish novelist from Türkiye, and he is the PEN International President, also a lawyer. Thank you so much, dear Burhan Sönmez, for accepting this invitation.
Thank you, Tarek. Thank you for this opportunity.
We will talk about PEN, but first of all, how did your love for literature begin?
I think, that's a classical answer. People always say, oh, when I was a child, I was influenced by someone in the family, grandfather, grandmother. I think I had a similar story. It started very early, and my influences, I think my mother, who was a perfect, wonderful storyteller, and also my elder brother, who was kind of, we can call him a bookworm. He was always reading. He was always around with a book in his hands, in his pocket. I think with these images, of books and also the stories around me, I fell in love right from the beginning.
Wonderful. My mother also had influence on me. What language was spoken in your family? Kurdish, Turkish, both?
Kurdish. I was born in a Kurdish family in a small village. At that time, because we are not young anymore, we didn't have TV or radio. Of course, we cannot mention cell phone at all. And even we didn't have electricity in that village. You can imagine the environment. So that's a rural part of central Anatolia in Turkey, in a small village. We had our own society, our own language. That was Kurdish, Kurdish stories, Kurdish family life. Then we moved to town, a nearby town. My father decided to move because my eldest son came to age of secondary school. So he wanted his children to study. I think he was the first one who moved to town for the study of his children. And then we started to be with Turkish people, with Turkish language. And I learned Turkish at primary school and then improved it.
And how about law? When did law appear in your life? And
when I was 17 years old, in Turkey, we have a national exam when you complete your high school. In that exam, you pick up some universities, some choices, then you take exam, depending how you succeed in exam. And then one of your choices on that list of schools, you are, being given one of them. Then I think law was my fourth or fifth choice on the list. Then I managed to get a place. Then it was Istanbul University, law faculty. Then I went to Istanbul and studied law. It was another long story.
So we both graduated from the same university. I studied English literature. All right. And law is a fascinating area, I think. When you, first of all, novels, you focus on writing novels, right?
No, yes.
How did that, how did you find yourself as a novelist? Not both fiction or poetry or?
I think it came very late and a bit, we can say, by accident.
A great
In,
accident.
in- yes. In the beginning, I wanted to be like you know, to write poem, to become, a great poet in Turkey. I was writing poems and publishing in literary magazines. Even I won a couple of awards,
Wonderful.
on national scale uh, at the time of university. But then years passed. I became lawyer. Then I had a problem, health issue caused by Turkish policemen. I was assaulted. I was heavily wounded. So I stayed in bed for months.
Uh-huh.
I had brain trauma at that time when I was in bed because of brain trauma. Because I couldn't do anything. Even I couldn't read book. I was just watching TV. And I remember I had a notebook next to my bed and a pen. I was sometimes just writing some lines, coming in my mind. But insomnia also something came in my life in that period. So during that difficult, nearly 1 year period, uh, I took notes in my notebooks. And after a while, I realized that those notes could have been turned into a big story, like a novel. This was just an idea, but turning it into a novel took me another 10, 12 years.
Mhm. And uh, how about your family? How did they react to your becoming first a lawyer, then a novelist? What, how did you, what was the feedback like?
Uh, I think it was not, going to university and study was not something big step in my family because my elders already done it before me. My eldest brother studying in Ankara at university, and also my other elder brother was also studying in Ankara. So they were part of family who were attached or affiliated with higher education. My difference was just the choice of city. Instead of Ankara, I went to Istanbul. Then I think rather than university, Istanbul was kind of, let's say, very tempting, very interesting because it was 1982. I went to Istanbul for the first time. Istanbul was, a fascinating place, something that we could see only on the screen. We had only single TV channel. Sometimes you would see movies, showing Istanbul. Whenever I came back home from Istanbul, for school holidays, I was going to village. All my relatives, especially young girls, would gather. They would ask me questions about Bosphorus, about the sea, and Maiden Tower, all sorts of beautiful things. I think that was fascinating, conveying a place, a magical place like Istanbul, through words to other people and create an Istanbul for them. That it's not picture, it's not the camera that you can show them, but you have only words and you are painting with the words. Actually, this is something um, used by Aristotle. It's not my own words.
Uh, 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 Kurdish, Turkish, English. How about English? When did that come into your life?
Uh, I had zero English, in Turkey for my generation. Foreign language education was totally, uh, didn't exist actually. So when I had health issues and also some legal problems with authorities in 1990s, when I was a human rights lawyer, I had to flee Turkey. Then I went to Britain to exile, where I stayed about 10 years as a refugee. When I went to Britain, my English was at zero level. To survive in a new land, first you have to learn the language. So that was what I did. I studied English. I learned English as much as I can.
Um, Yeah, great, great. And bad events sometimes lead to good results in addition to, of course, harm and damage. But you're becoming a novelist and you're becoming an international president. Uh, uh, if if only you had not suffered, if only there had not been such unfair pressure and violence against you. Uh, but here you are, and the leader of the most probably respected international organization, or at least one of the most respected international organizations. And so when you look at your life after your hard work as Pan International President, I hope you will write your autobiography.
Oh God, okay.
Plus, that would
Yes.
that will teach a lot.
Uh, maybe someday, yes. That's a good idea. Because, you know, especially in novels, when you write a novel, most of the time you use your own experience or views, you know, to depict something in the story or to set up a scene. But writing a biography is totally something else. Maybe at some point, uh, I have to consider it.
Great. And how about pen? Did that, I mean, did you first become an English Pen Center member, or what did it go?
Yes, I think it's been ages, to be honest. I still, yeah, at the time, lived in Britain. I applied English when I became member. Then I had opportunity to be able to return to Turkey. Then I applied um, Turkish Pen Center. And thanks to you, you were the president and you accepted my application. I remember you invited me to Pen Center. I came and you presented me that wonderful membership card.
Oh,
I was very proud of. It's been, I think, yeah, more than 10 years ago. And after that, I became member of Kurdish Pen.
won-
Currently, I'm member of 3 pen centers.
wonderful. And as you know, we, um, instead of Turkish Pen, we prefer to say Pen Türkiye because we have, as such as yourself, Kurdish citizens, members as well. And uh, um, as Pan International President, uh, what are some of the challenges you're dealing with?
Oh, yeah, of course, the biggest challenge is seeing that writers, journalists, still in this age are being uh, threatened, imprisoned, even murdered. Seeing, you know, our fellow people in danger is the biggest challenge, emotional, because this is something not easy to carry with yourself. Every night I go to sleep, I say, okay, am I going to hear something tonight? Because my phone is always on. Something happened, you know, in some part of the world. Unfortunately, the world is not flat, and the time clock doesn't work with the same time, you know, for everyone. So we have to be vigilant, you know, and on guard always. We have more than 130 pen centers in more than 100 countries, 40,000 members, but we don't help only to members. We help writers, you know, even when they are not members. That means tens of thousands of people, you know, in the field, and many of them nowadays are in need of help because the situation in the world, you know, is not going well. Authoritarian regimes gaining power across the world, in every continent, even in, let's say, most developed Europe. That means more travel for journalists, writers, for people like us. This is the biggest challenge. When it comes to the structural side, we have so other things, but this is our internal work that we are trying to improve, like, let's say, creating more functional bodies within the organization, attracting more funding. We have funding at the moment, but if I had, let's say, twice more or 5 times more funding, I would have been able to help, much more writers across the world. This is something we are improving, and overall, I can say I'm happy that we are doing something good for writers, for everyone.
Yes, yes, indeed. And there are wonderful people everywhere as PEN members, and our international staff in London, in the London office, is wonderful. And of course, mentioning the financial question, Eric Lax is an extraordinary dear friend, and
Treasure.
yes, he has devoted himself. One of the such as Eugene Shulgin or Eugene Shulgin and other friends, and PEN members know already, but non-PEN, let's say, earthmates do not probably know that we have committees focusing on separate areas, such as Women Writers Committee, Writers for Peace Committee, Translation and Linguistic Rights Committee, and Writers in Prison Committee. And would you like to mention a few things about them, please?
Yes, because it's a big organization and there are so many things to do. Not only just rescuing a writer from a dangerous situation, but also improving the environment for writers, literary environment and social environment. That means that you have to improve intellectual work, you have to improve practical work. And today, when we look at things, and we realize that the demand is always changing. That's why we established a committee for women writers. Then we established a committee which focusing on the work of peace across the world. Another one is for language rights. So by focusing on these different areas, we are able to improve our potential intellectually and also practically. And that improves the organization, overall, because PEN International is now older than 100 years. One of the oldest organizations across the world, international organization. How we managed to survive, all these difficulties, I think that was the secret. We always focus on different things. We always fed our organization with new things by mobilizing our members and to improve good things for the organization.
Mm-hmm. Visiting yourself as a novelist, do you have a specific time of the day you concentrate on writing?
Yes. It changes, of course, depending on the period of your life. But nowadays, my writing time is at night. I sit around 10 p.m. After putting my son to bed, reading his books. Then I come to my desk. Then I work about 4 or 5 hours every night. Because, as I said, I have chronic insomnia. That's a bad thing, but we are human beings. We have power to turn bad things into good things. So I use it now as a positive advantage for myself every night. Yeah, 4 or 5 hours. I sit just to use it for writing. In the past, depending of my daily activities, sometimes I would use my all day. But now, daytime is mostly I dedicate for the work of Pan International or go to university here in Cambridge. So the night is for everyone. So daytime, the night's just for my work.
You have one child?
I have two child. The elder one is from my wife's first marriage, but he grew up with me. So two boys at home. It is a bit troublemaking for my wife having me, also another boy, having three boys at home. I don't think that's easy for her.
The Three Musketeers.
Yes.
Did becoming a father influence you? Of course it did, but influence your writing. If you were not a father, would you be lacking something, or how would you?
Yes, certainly. Maybe I cannot give certain examples, but becoming a father, having a little child, certainly changing your psychology. You are becoming maybe more sensitive and also more cautious, you know, and a bit, let's say, more coward. I don't see myself as brave as I used to be.
I totally understand you. I have a daughter, and
yeah, because I've been very close to death a few times in my lifetime, and I never felt fear about death. Even I'm very positive about it. I see death is a good thing, for humans. In them we will meet it, and we appreciate this with the reflection of that, death. But nowadays, because I have a small child, I am not comfortable to contemplate the idea of death, as easy as I used to be.
True. We have obligations. There is a wonderful. There are beings that who need our love, and So this. When I was 19, I met Aziz Nesin. He was 57, and when I asked him, how are you? He answered, I have to be well. At that time, I didn't understand him, but later on, we are bound to be well.
Yes.
When you dream, what languages do you dream in? Sometimes Kurdish, sometimes.
Oh gosh. Okay. This is another problem I had. When I've been talking about this police incident I had. It happened in 1996. They came to murder me. They thought that I was dead. They left me as a dead man. They went, but I survived, heavily wounded, brain trauma. I had so many surgeries around here. One of the worst things that it left behind was not only insomnia. I lost my ability having dreams. For about more than 10 years, I couldn't see a single dream.
Oh.
Yeah, that was so troubling psychologically. That's why you always think about death, you are in conversation with death in that psychology. In my first novel, North, I told in one chapter the story of a peddler. He's wandering around in countryside with his horse and cart, meeting people. he's buying dreams.
Aha.
In exchange, giving people something. When people tell him their dreams, he collect them and thanking them by giving something to them. It was something that I was in. But lately, in the last few years, I started to see dreams, not very often, maybe one dream a month or every 2 months. In the beginning, I think I don't remember the language of my dreams. But lately, especially in the last 1-2 years, as dreams come back, I realized that the main language is Kurdish. Even though socially, Kurdish is my third language that I'm using at home because I live in Cambridge. The social language is English now. And in the family, my wife is Turkish. We speak Turkish at home. My Kurdish was something I could use only on the phone when I was speaking with my mother. She passed away last year.
Oh.
So now I got myself and my own Kurdish memory, in a foreign land far away from my village, my country, in Cambridge. I think with those feelings that I decided for the first time to write a novel in Kurdish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now we are in February 2024. Now this week my Kurdish novel is in printing house.
Wow.
And next week it will come to bookshops, but in Turkey, Kurdish books are not in bookshops. Maybe the people can order it on internet. So this is another thing, we struggle. We try to fight. We try to achieve and also change something within ourselves in order to understand ourselves.
Indeed.
Of course, politically or socially, we know what we are. I know, okay, I'm someone from Turkey, I'm Kurdish, my mother tongue is Kurdish, but emotionally, when I think in one language or when I read something in certain languages, how my heart beats, I think as maybe a matter of aging, as I feel that I'm aging, I more feel for the beauty of Kurdish language.
Wonderful.
I think in the last few years, most of the books I've read were in Kurdish.
Mm-hmm. I like the sounds of Kurdish. In 1992, in a panel, when there was still considerable oppression, as you know, I said, ethically, a Turkish-speaking person should learn at least 2 languages, Kurdish and English. Kurdish, we owe it to our Kurdish citizens, ethically. And secondly, as world citizens, we also need English, I think. And I've been criticizing myself for not learning Kurdish. I have attempted. Now, hopefully, after the age of 70, I will at least learn more than Rojbash and
Yeah, thank you. But even having this attitude of yours, is praising a language that living next to you is something we should appreciate, because in Turkey, especially in this political environment, most people are scared or they just ignore, the existence of Kurdish language around. We Kurdish writers, we always feel that we have to appreciate other languages. So in exchange, they may appreciate our language too. So we say, Turkish is a beautiful language because we write in Turkish. That's the language we learned at school. and English language, or Arabic, or Persian, all those languages around us, or our generation, we all grew up with Greek poetry, in Turkey, or French poetry with its beauty. So every language is wonderful. So Kurdish is beautiful too. So, but as Kurds, we always expect to hear from other people. You do, because you are great poet, you are intellectual man. I hope in Turkey, more people, will come the same level.
Thank you. I wrote a poem about Mehmet Uzun and mentioning also Sheikh Mustiken in 2007 when I visited Mehmet Uzun in Diyarbakir, and I used some Kurdish in that poem and giving information about the Kurdish language as well. At least that is, and for Hrant Dink, I selected proverbs from Armenian culture and Turkish culture that are similar with a little bit of change. Literature is for bringing people together, for sharing experience and understanding. Okay, what would you suggest to teenagers all over the world, to young earthmates, whether they want they write or not? What would you recommend to them?
I think because I'm a lover of books, I love reading. I cannot imagine a life without books. The main thing I would say that read books, that's just the beginning of seeing the world from different angles. Watching a movie is wonderful, listening a song, going to a dance performance and watching a theater, play on the stage. These are all things that gives us a new eye in this world, because we believe in the eyes of science, and ethics, philosophy, other fields in this life. But art is not only a different eye, it is a totally different perspective. With the help of books, I think we can achieve to create a new world and to see the world in a new way.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Thank you very much, Tarek. It's a great pleasure being here with you.
My dear president, friend, and brother, thank you so much. We're together.
Thank you, Tarek. Have a nice day.